Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me now? Hello? Hello, hello. Hello, hello.
Hello?
Yeah, Jayakumar, can you hear me now?
I'm hearing, sir.
Okay, right. Okay, that's good. So,
Okay, sir.
I sent you some questions. Did you get those questions?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah, now you must attempt those questions. Don't worry.
Yes,
Even if you don't know, you must attempt, because then you send me the answers. Then I will go through the answers and then I will tell you exactly how to direct you.
Okay, sir.
Okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Today I want to start on a new subject. Last time we discussed about the management controls. Today I want to discuss something called internal control. I'm sure you know internal controls. Being an accountancy lecturer, you know all about internal control. So basically, you remember you discussed about the TARA. The way to reduce the risk is through internal control. So the management will set certain internal controls to reduce the risk, right? And internal controls during our time, it was thought it is only for finance side. Only the financial controls are internal controls. But today, it is realized the internal controls apply across the entire, all the activities of the business. Even in HR, there will be internal controls. Even in IT, there will be internal controls. Even in credit, there will be internal controls. So for each and every area, you will apply internal control. So this is a famous examiner's question. They will put up and say, it is only for financials. No, internal controls are there for every area.
Okay, sir.
A little definition. This is the SIMA definition of internal controls. It is basically, I have broken it into many areas. The first thing, it is to manage the business risk. You need to set up internal controls. So as I said, the internal controls will apply to all activities of the business, all parts of the business. Now I'm going to give you the definition of internal control. I want to take it in little by little center. So it is the whole system of controls. As I said, both financial and non-financial. Can you tell me some controls that you have in your computer systems in any company, any organization? What are the control systems you have in your computer, Jayakumar?
It's a virus.
Oh, yes, virus, good one.
Have,
Yes,
sir.
that's a good one. Yes, to protect against the viruses, you have to put the virus guards as a control, isn't it? Good. What are the other controls we have?
I think passwords, sir.
Passwords, exactly. Yeah, because you know, in your computer, in your organization, there are certain information that is shared with you. Now, that information should not go to your lower level subordinate. So, because of that, each computer is given, each user is given a username and a password.
Yes, sir.
Right? You can log into my computer with your username and your password. You will only have access to whatever you authorize. When I use my username and password, I will have a different level of access level.
Okay, sir.
Like that, you have many controls. Later on, we will be looking those things in the computer risk. It's a separate one. All the controls are established by the management. Now, that's very important. It is in this scenario, it is not the board of directors. The controls are established by the management. The finance controls established by the finance manager. Some other credit control. But all must fall in line with the high policies of the company. So the controls are necessary. Another reason is to orderly carry out the business in an efficient manner. What do you mean by efficiency? You remember there are three things: efficiency, economy, and effectiveness.
Effective.
Decrease. What is efficient mean?
Efficient means utilizing the resources
Yeah,
perfectly,
because
sir.
try to do the maximum with utilization without any waste or
Okay, sir.
minimal waste. That is what we call efficient. So if when a person works 10 hours and put up output of 100, he is considered efficient. If another person is put in 80. So without a waste, being
Yes, sir.
efficient is that. Yes, that's correct. And to ensure to adhere to management policies. Now the management will set up many policies, like saying credit given for a customer is only 60 days. Like saying
Okay, sir.
the people who are joining the company must have a 6 months probation period. Right? So these are the management policies, like saying any accountant that is recruited to the company should be a CIMA qualified person. So the control
Okay, sir.
system will ensure that we don't recruit a marketing manager as a accountant. We only recruit the people according to CIMA qualification.
Okay, sir.
And to safeguard assets, all the money that the shareholders have put is invested in assets. Assets broadly fall into two categories: non-current assets and current assets. All assets must be protected. All assets must be protected. That is why before we go in the evening, we lock the safe or whatever, put all the money inside that one, and we will have a kind of a secret code. No one can come in the night and open the safe and take money. That's the way we have a control over our money, to safeguard the money, right? Every non-current asset, we have a inventory number given, fixed asset register entered. So we know all the company assets. If anything goes out, the people will know immediately what has happened to the asset, right? So like that, there will be many controls to safeguard all the others. Inventory, we will have a system where the person who is ordering will not be taking the goods, another person will take the goods, and another person will make the payment. So that way we will safeguard the asset. To prevent, detect, and fraud errors. Our time it was thought internal controls is there to detect frauds and errors. Now you can see it's not the primary purpose. It is there, but not too much of a big thing into that one. It is just a kind of a secondary thing, detection and fraud errors. And finally, not the least, but finally, to ensure the completeness and accuracy of records. Now, ultimately, at the end of the day, the way we communicate to our shareholders, our stakeholders, the performance of the company is through financial statement. So, financial statement should be free of material errors and material omission. The way to go, the way for us to look at that one is through internal control system. The internal control systems will ensure every liability is recorded, every asset is recorded. Otherwise, it can happen such a way that your company takes a loan, but they don't enter it. If they don't enter, the liability will not appear in the balance sheet. And the money anyone can misappropriate and use it. And what will happen? Later on, if some person buys this company, suddenly the bank will come and say, hey, you owe us money. Isn't it? So because of that, we have to have a complete, accurate report. So you can see the CIMA terminology as far as possible. Why does it say like that? That is just because we have internal controls, there is absolutely no guarantee that all the records will be 100% accurate, 100% complete. We can still omit a transaction. We can still miss a transaction.
Yes, sir.
Maybe after all the things, when the data entry operator is entering, he might miss one of those entries, one of the invoices.
Okay, sir.
And then, of course, the reports will not be very accurate. Now, I want you to think about for yourself, how to ensure that, say, there are 100 invoices today, to ensure that all 100 invoices are entered, not 99 is entered. How do we do that, Jeff?
Okay.
Say you have sold
How to say?
100 customers today. There are
Okay, sir.
100 invoices.
Okay,
How
sir.
do we ensure that we have entered all the 100, not 99?
Okay, sir.
How do
So
we
we
do
have
that?
to we have to go check physically.
Yeah.
If we have to check the numbers, sir.
Physically you can count, okay. But if it is a
Okay,
very
sir.
big number, you may not be able to count it, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
But the other way. Other way is to have the serial order.
Okay, okay, sir.
Right? So when you enter number 1, number 2, number 3, and if you don't enter number 4 and go to number 5, the computer will reject it. The
Okay, sir.
computer is told to take it on a serial order.
Okay, sir.
So that way you can, there are many controls. So like that, you must always think of all the time at strategic level.
Okay, sir.
Every day you get a new problem.
Okay,
So for
sir.
every new problem, you have to think of a new control.
Okay, sir.
This is what we should be looking at.
Okay, sir.
So internal control is a system of management to control certain risk on one side, actually to reduce the risk or to control the risk, and therefore by controlling the risk, what we will achieve? We achieve our business objective.
Okay, sir.
Risk is something always that can go and upset our achievement of a business objective.
Okay, sir.
But the moment you put the controls, we bring that into a proper direction.
Okay, sir.
Now, for example, that is why we have lots of controls over frauds and errors.
Okay, sir.
You can have all the best business, but if you have a rogue inside the company, he will rob all the money.
Okay, sir.
Now, I can remember, like in your example, like in the school that you are working, the business school, or wherever,
Okay, sir.
there was a SIMA meeting some time back.
Okay, sir.
It was all about, there were lecturers like you who have been paid by the company. But
Okay, sir.
one man went and during a holiday, one man
Okay, sir.
came and getting the password of the HR person, entered a fictitious lecturer's name.
Okay, sir.
And every month there was money going. Money was going to Jayakumar for doing genuine lectures. Money was going to another person. He did not lecture, but because they have entered a wrong name or a fictitious name, and money was going.
Okay, sir.
And it went on for 2 years. Right? And it so happened that the company had their anniversary celebrations happening, and for the anniversary celebrations, they sent invitations for all the lecturers. And this lecturer's invitation came written saying there is no such name, there is no such person.
Okay, sir.
Then only they checked it and they found, oh wow, all this time a person has fraudulently entered something and he was taking money and he has been enjoying that money so this is so the problem there was the control. Something went wrong in the control. What happened was during the weekend, some man managed to come, sit on the HR person's computer, open the computer with the HR person's password and enter a fictitious name. No one knew.
Okay, sir.
So this kind of a thing, and ultimately, of course, your profit will get reduced. You are not going to achieve your objective.
Okay, sir.
Basically, internal control and risk management as a kind of a, what I would say, with proper internal controls, your risk management will be good. With poor internal controls, your risk management will be poor. So internal controls and risk management goes together. So it's a part of risk reduction, and it's a way to respond to risk. So therefore, generally, good solid internal control and risk management are seen as a major element of good corporate governance. So we did not do corporate governance because since we had done some work on the corporate governance, but we know corporate governance is a system by which the company is directed and controlled. So the control comes through internal control. Right? So when the company is properly directed, that means it has proper risk management. So you can see there is a relationship between internal control and risk management, and good corporate governance.
Mhm.
If you have good corporate
Okay, sir.
governance, generally we can assume that it has good internal controls and good risk management.
Risk
Right?
management.
That is why we say
Okay.
listed companies are better governed, better regulated, because they have good corporate governance. Every listed company in any
Yes, sir.
part of the country need to follow good
Okay,
corporate
sir.
governance. Unlisted company, not necessary, not
Okay, sir.
not a requirement. But listed company,
Okay, sir.
almost all the stock exchanges gives a requirement saying they must
Okay,
manage,
sir.
they must have proper corporate governance. So when you have good
Okay,
corporate
sir.
governance, that means it has proper internal controls, and that means it has proper risk management. And
Risk
when you
management.
have that kind of a thing, obviously that company is exposed to less risk. And when that company is
Okay, sir.
exposed to less risk, that means it company has a better chance of achieving objectives compared to a unlisted company.
Okay,
And
sir.
because it's a less risky one, they can borrow money, they can take money at lower rates of interest.
Okay, sir.
And when they take money at lower rates of interest, their cost of whatever they produce will come down, and they will be in a position to compete in the market much more better than unlisted companies. And not only that, when the companies are properly regulated, you can attract the best of the best to those companies. So that is why you can see when you get out from the university, the best people are handpicked by the best company, the listed company.
Yes.
And because they are the best people, they will do very best. So you can see the cycle, how it happens. The good corporate governance can bring all these things. And for good corporate governance to be there, you need to have good internal control, good risk management.
Okay, sir.
So the risk internal controls, as I said, it is always established by the management. But good corporate governance says the board of directors must review the internal control system at least once a year and be satisfied that the control systems that is in operation are proper and good.
Okay.
Right?
Okay,
So
sir.
now, for example, Jay Kumar, now let's say assume in your company you have board of directors. So they have
Okay, sir.
to ensure that the control systems in their companies are good and proper, that kind of a thing.
Okay, sir.
Now, who can support them?
Okay, sir.
Who can support them? Who can tell, yes, sir, the internal control systems are good? Who can tell them?
Okay, sir. Sir, internal audit, sir.
Internal auditor, very good. Internal auditor,
Yes, sir.
because
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
not the finance manager,
Yeah.
because finance manager will be able to talk about all the other sections, but in his own section, if the
Okay, sir.
controls are weak, he is not going to say anything. But
Yes, sir.
internal audit is an independent person. He is a
Yes, sir.
person who has no function. So therefore, he will
Okay,
review
sir.
each and every section internal controls and tell the board of
Okay,
directors,
sir.
look here, these areas
Yes,
the
sir.
controls are good. This area the control
Yes,
is
sir.
not good.
Yes, sir.
That is what so the P3 examiner, you
Yes, sir.
can
Okay, sir.
be guaranteed P3 examiner is a favorite of the internal audit. So all the time
Okay,
there will
sir.
be lot of questions on internal audit, and you can always
Okay, sir.
get lot of marks if you know about the internal
Okay,
audit
sir.
and its role. And internal audit
Okay.
nowadays, it's a big role. It's not like those days where they are
Okay,
put
sir.
into a corner and where they check all
Okay,
the
sir.
records as a policeman. No, now they are
Okay, sir.
part of the very central management. They have a very big
Okay,
role to
sir.
play in the company with the success or the failure.
Okay, sir.
That is why the corporate
Okay, sir.
governance has placed so much of importance on the internal
Okay,
audit.
sir.
Now, where do the internal audit
Okay.
report? To whom do the internal audit report in a company?
Internal auditor, sir.
Yeah, where does he
Yeah, board
report to?
up to the
Yeah,
board, sir.
to the board. Much
Yeah.
better than the board, because even if you report to the board, sometimes
Okay, sir.
your finance director
Okay,
might
sir.
say don't report, because the board of directors means it's a collective one. You must have one boss
Okay, sir.
always. Who is should be
Okay, sir.
one boss? Who should be one boss? It is the audit committee. The chairman of the audit committee is
Oh,
your
okay.
boss.
Okay, sir.
Whenever we
Yes, sir.
have
Yes, sir.
audit committee, remember the internal
Yes, sir.
auditor must report to the head of the audit committee.
Audit committee.
He is a
Yes, sir.
non-executive director. So he
Different
has
director. Yes, sir.
absolutely
Yes, sir.
no kind of a, not that he doesn't have interest, he is not attached
Okay,
to
sir.
the company in such a
Okay.
way that, he
Okay,
is,
sir.
he is not bound by anyone. Now
Okay.
every day he
Yes.
can be very
Okay.
freely, access, and, this
Yes,
is
sir.
the safest place for the internal audit to report.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes, sir.
simply internal audit control is, again, as I said, it is for the whole business, not only for the financials.
Okay, sir.
There are a couple of reports. I think in your corporate governance you would have come across some of these things. One of the major
Okay,
reports
sir.
is the October 2005, the Turnbull report. So
Okay, sir.
actually the father of modern day internal controls is called this man Turnbull.
Okay.
So he speaks about the
Okay, sir.
importance of internal control. He says internal
Okay,
control
sir.
has a major role in risk management. It
Okay,
provides
sir.
the efficiency and effectiveness of operation. And also because there are
Okay, sir.
internal controls, we will be having good
Yes, sir.
internal reporting, good external
Okay,
reporting,
sir.
and also will comply with lots
Yes, sir.
of laws and regulations. Now, internal
Okay.
reporting is for whom? Internal report is for the management. That is all
Management.
what our
Yes, sir.
management accountants do. Variance analysis, everything, they do it. Costing, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir.
What is
Okay.
external reporting? External reporting today is mostly
Yes, sir.
the financial
Yeah.
statement.
Financial report. Yeah.
Yeah, and
Yes, sir.
also there's another one in F3 now, integrated reporting, isn't it?
Yes, sir. Integrated financial
Integrated
reporting.
reporting, the global
Yeah.
reporting initiatives.
Yes,
Now
sir.
there
Yes,
are
sir.
two
Yeah.
types of external reporting on sustainability, environmental, that kind of thing, and also the
Yes, sir.
financial statement. So financial statement should be
Okay, sir.
free of material errors and omissions. So that is what the
Okay, sir.
external
Okay, sir.
auditors will verify and say whether it is
Okay, sir.
true and fair. But internal
Okay, sir.
reports, they are also very important. I remember I was working in a
Mhm.
company. I had a accountant
Okay,
to
sir.
do the costing. We were importing some products. So he did a costing.
Okay,
He
sir.
came and showed me the costing. And then
Mhm.
we were adding up a certain markup to the cost. And when I said, okay, at this price, let them put it to the market. Normally, when we bring
Okay,
the
sir.
goods, it takes about 30 days to sell. These goods went
Mhm.
within 15 days. So we was very happy.
Okay, sir.
Everyone was very happy. And we were very happy that the goods were sold in 15 days time. But later on, the
Okay,
accountant is
sir.
coming to my room, scratching the head. You know
Okay, sir.
what he has done? He
Okay, sir.
has not taken
Mhm.
the VAT input, which was disallowed. He has not taken that
Mhm.
into his costing. So we have sold
Mhm.
15% less than the market price.
Okay, sir.
And obviously
Okay, sir.
everyone bought the goods, and ultimately when we did the
Mhm.
real costing, it was a big loss
Mhm.
for the company.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
Millions
Okay, sir.
of rupees loss. Why? It was
Okay,
poor
sir.
internal reporting.
Yeah, cut
Poor
this.
internal
Okay,
reporting.
sir.
So that was my
Okay, sir.
fault because I got that man to do
Okay, sir.
all the thing. I did not get
Mhm.
another man to check his costing.
Okay, sir.
Always we must get one other person to check your work. This is what
Okay, sir.
basically what we call, you remember, segregation of duties, right?
Okay,
Always
sir.
one person's work must be checked by other person. And also,
Okay,
because
sir.
of good internal controls, we will generally comply with laws and regulations.
Okay, sir.
Because it says
Yes, sir.
taxes must be paid by the 15th of the following month. So we know because of
Okay,
the
sir.
control system, it will come up in our
Mhm.
computer highlighting saying, today is 13th, we need to
Okay,
pay
sir.
by the 15th. So we won't miss.
Okay, sir.
Right? Annual licenses, we will do it. Annual insurance of vehicles, we will do it. Otherwise, the vehicles will go on the road without insurance.
Okay, sir.
So the internal controls will ensure proper maintenance of accounting records, and therefore they will not be exposed to any avoidable financial risk.
Okay.
And
Okay, sir.
generally with that kind of thing, the information that we provide will be very reliable. And also because of the internal
Okay, sir.
controls, our assets are protected and it will prevent frauds
Okay,
and
sir.
errors. And also it will
Okay,
help
sir.
to eliminate, or rather I don't say
Okay, sir.
eliminate, to minimize the risk.
Okay, sir.
Internal control responsibility. So as per
Okay, sir.
Turnbull, even though it is established by the management, the entire
Okay, sir.
responsibility is with the board of directors. So
Okay,
board
sir.
of directors must have some kind of a policy set up for them to get a
Okay, sir.
regular kind of assurance to see that the system is working well.
Okay, sir.
Board must ensure that the system is working well and that the board has
Okay, sir.
some kind of a system that the board has approved. All employees form
Okay,
part
sir.
of the internal control.
Okay,
All
sir.
employees, even the garbage cleaner is part of your
Okay.
control. If that fellow does not remove the
Okay, sir.
garbage, you will not be able to come to work tomorrow
Okay, sir.
morning and work in a proper environment.
Okay, sir. Okay,
So
sir.
because of that, every employee must have certain knowledge of skill, certain amount of information,
Okay.
and that is how it will work.
Mhm.
So that way,
Okay,
one
sir.
thing, the company
Mhm.
works as a team. Everyone knows
Okay,
the
sir.
objectives of the company and the risk that they
Mhm.
face. This is the modern
Okay,
business
sir.
world. This is the way that we work
Okay,
in
sir.
the modern business world. So I want to talk about some of the elements of a sound internal
Okay, sir.
control system. So basically,
Okay,
any
sir.
internal control
Mhm.
system should be able to respond to any significant risk
Okay.
before it happens. Before it
Okay, sir.
happens. You recruit a wrong person,
Okay, sir.
the internal control system
Uh-huh.
will alert this man's behavior
Okay.
is not proper,
Okay.
right? So
Okay, sir.
immediately we
Yeah.
will know we have recruited the wrong
Uh-huh.
person, right? We will
Okay,
have
sir.
certain
Mhm.
monitoring the credit, the age analysis of the receivables will immediately tell us,
Okay,
look
sir.
here, this
Okay, sir.
particular credit
Uh-huh.
customer is not paying us on time. So we have to be careful of that
Okay,
man.
sir.
Immediately,
Okay, sir.
it will ensure all liabilities are identified and managed. So how do we do that one?
Okay, sir.
We send letters to all our bankers asking them to confirm the
Okay, sir.
balances, etc. To our payables
Okay,
asking them
sir.
to inform. So sometimes they will
Okay,
say,
sir.
look here, you owe us. And we will say, no,
Okay,
according
sir.
to our records, it is not there. So that way,
Mhm.
the
Mhm.
confirmation of credit balances, the debtors balances are all there. And also,
Mhm.
because of your good internal
Mhm.
controls, you will have good report,
Okay, sir.
also compliance of
Okay,
laws and
sir.
regulations, and about the
Uh-huh.
control environment. Now, I want to talk about control environment. What is the control environment?
Okay, sir.
What is control
Sir.
environment? Anything that you know? When the
Yeah,
people talk
control
about
environment,
the
sir.
good control environment, bad control environment, what does it mean?
Yes, sir. Control environment means it's related to management attitude, sir, regarding.
Yeah, there are three A's: management
Uh,
attitudes, actions,
okay, sir.
awareness.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Management's attitudes, actions, awareness towards the need for
Okay, sir.
internal control.
Okay, sir.
That is, in other
Okay,
words,
sir.
the top management should have a positive attitude towards internal control.
Okay, sir.
Now, budget is your
Okay,
internal
sir.
control tool to manage your
Okay,
expenditure
sir.
within the budget. If the top management
Okay,
says,
sir.
you know, Jayakumar, forget about budget, man, right? We don't want a budget, let them do anything. That means
Okay, sir.
the management
Mhm.
attitude towards the internal control and the budget is not good. So then the people will not
Okay, sir.
take Jay Kumar seriously. People will say, no, no, the
Okay,
directors
sir.
are not interested. Why are you bothered about the controls? And the control system will not
Okay,
work.
sir. Okay, okay,
Actions.
okay, sir.
Actions. Whenever there is
Okay,
a
sir.
breach of a control, the management or the board
Okay,
of
sir.
directors should be taking strong action, irrespective of
Okay,
who the
sir.
person is. Right?
Okay, sir.
Irrespective of the person, they must take strong action. Then, when you
Okay, sir.
don't take that kind of action, or if they are partial in
Okay, sir.
taking action, then the people will know,
Okay,
no,
sir.
no, they are not going to take even if I do something wrong.
Okay, sir.
Then also the awareness. The management, the top
Mhm.
management should know what are the controls. If they don't know the
Okay, sir.
controls, they can't ask the other people at the lower level to exercise the
Okay, sir.
control. Right? They must set the
Okay, sir.
example from the top. If the company says
Okay,
no
sir.
company property should be taken without the proper approvals, the from
Okay,
the
sir.
CEO downwards, everyone must fall
Okay,
in
sir.
line. If CEO is going to take
Okay,
some
sir.
company property without signing a document, how can he control the
Okay, sir.
lower man when he takes it? So it is the
Okay, sir.
management actions, attitudes, and awareness towards internal
Okay, sir.
control. So if you have a very
Okay, sir.
strong control environment, obviously your
Okay,
internal
sir.
control system is good. If you have poor
Okay, sir.
control environment, your control systems
Okay,
will be very bad.
Okay, sir.
So internal control system will reflect to a great extent the control environment.
Okay.
If your internal controls
Okay.
are poor, you must go and search how is the control environment.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
So the internal control should
Okay, sir.
control all activities, information.
Okay, sir.
Information also
Okay,
should
sir.
be controlled. Now in P3, one of the biggest areas is information. I told you, I think at the
Okay, sir.
beginning, for a company success
Okay, sir.
today, we need two things. One, a good
Okay, sir.
board of directors.
Knowledge and
Knowledge, skills, experience. It's not only knowledge.
Okay,
Right?
sir.
There are a lot of people
Okay,
with
sir.
knowledge, but knowledge is not good
Okay,
enough.
sir.
You must have a lot of skills. You
Mm.
must have a lot of experience. And not only that, even
Okay,
the
sir.
availability of time. There are a lot of knowledgeable people in the world, but they don't have time.
Okay, sir.
They are not good directors.
Okay, sir.
Right? We had
Okay,
a
sir.
company in Sri Lanka, one man, director of 300 companies, chairman of 300
Okay,
companies.
sir.
And one company collapsed
Okay,
and
sir.
all the companies collapsed. You know, reason.
Okay,
He did
sir.
not have time to
Okay,
manage.
sir.
Very knowledgeable man. Knowledge itself not enough. Knowledge,
sir.
skills, experience, integrity,
Okay,
availability of time, all that is important. So that is why we say for
Okay,
the
sir.
success of a company, we need a good set of board of directors. What is the
Okay.
other
Okay,
important
sir.
thing that you need for the success of a company? One
Strategy,
is
sir.
to have one thing is to have a good board of directors. Yes, strategy.
Yes, sir.
To have the
Okay,
strategy,
sir.
what do you need? To work out a strategy, what do you need?
You have to.
Hmm? To work out a strategy, what do you need? You need information, isn't it?
Yes, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You need information. You need what the
Yes, sir.
customers want. You must know the information about what the competitors are doing. You need information about
Okay,
what
sir.
the government tax policy is. You need
Okay, sir.
information
Okay,
about
sir.
what your suppliers can do. So you need
Okay,
information.
sir.
So the two
Okay,
elements
sir.
of success for a company today is information
Okay, sir.
and good
Okay, sir.
corporate governance or good director.
Okay.
So that is why you will
Okay, sir.
see in most of our companies and in P3
Okay,
we have
sir.
a big section called information system strategy.
Okay, sir.
Information is a
Okay, sir.
very, very important one. In fact, today many people
Okay, sir.
believe information as the most
Okay, sir.
valuable resource. Right? Most of the
Okay, sir.
time we thought the human resource as the valuable resource. I still believe, but many people
Okay, sir.
think information as the most valuable resource. In a way, true,
Okay, sir.
because I
Okay.
think last week one big company CEO said 1 minute delay of getting information can mean you lose $1 million business.
Okay, sir.
The work is so competitive. The market is so competitive. You delay it by 1 hour,
Yes, sir.
some other person will
Okay, sir.
take the order and supply.
Okay, sir.
Right? You are waiting
Okay,
for
sir.
information for Jay Kumar to provide information. He's taking time to do the costing and to give the information. Their competitors
Okay, sir.
accountant has given the information. He has given the quotation and the order is lost for you. So today the
Okay, sir.
information, the speed of information is very important. That is why we have something called IT in a very big way in our PT syllabus.
Okay, sir.
So IT system should be completely on all the operations and the company, and it forms part of its culture. I see internal
Okay.
control reflects your corporate culture. Now you are working in a
Yes, sir.
country like Oman. Oman culture is
Okay, sir.
totally different from American culture, right? It is
Yes, sir.
totally different from the Indian culture. So
Yes, sir.
wherever the company must embed that country's culture, right? Because your
Okay, sir.
country is basically Islamic country, so we have to respect their views, all that kind of a thing. So we can't do
Okay,
a
sir.
European business in Oman
Mhm.
without falling into
Yes,
the
sir.
the Oman culture.
Yes, sir.
And it must revolve. This is very important. The internal control system should be responding quickly to the evolving risk. Evolving risk is
Okay, sir.
something that is coming. Now, for
Okay.
example,
Yes,
if
sir.
you have a good internal control system, you will know about your customers, their financial standing continuously, right? Before
Okay,
he
sir.
becomes bad, you will know, and you will stop credit or you will, reduce the, how do you know that? The
Okay,
way
sir.
that he makes the payments, right? If he is, this time he was paying 100% on the right day, now only 80% is paid. Now only 60% is paid. You know he's into crisis. So immediately you can
Okay,
watch
sir.
that on your computer. The computer will say, this customer is becoming bad. Suppliers who have been supplying very
Okay,
good
sir.
quality for you, suddenly you find his quality rejects are now 10%, 15%, 20%. You will immediately
Okay,
know,
sir.
your system will provide, hey, this system supplier, you have to be careful.
Okay, sir.
Employee, right? I was working
Okay,
in a
sir.
company where we had about 200 sales reps, and some were doing
Okay,
very
sir.
well, they achieving targets. But
Okay,
suddenly
sir.
you might find some of
Okay,
those
sir.
people who were achieving targets, getting the rewards and bonuses, suddenly fall in,
Okay,
not
sir.
achieving the target.
Okay, sir.
You have to
Okay, sir.
monitor and see why. So I had a fellow, he was doing brilliant in the company, and suddenly I found
Okay, sir.
he was not achieving the target. Later on, I realized
Okay, sir.
while he's working to me, he was working to another competitor also.
Okay, sir.
The way I came to know is through the reporting system. The moment the targets he was
Okay,
not
sir.
achieving, failing, I realized there's something happening. So
Okay, sir.
any kind of evolving risk, and also not only evolving
Okay.
risk, change in business environment. Right?
Okay, sir.
The business environments are
Yes, sir.
changing rapidly. Today you are
Okay, sir.
working in this company, right? Tomorrow you
Yes, sir.
might find another competitor setting up a institute to do accountancy
Okay,
tuition.
sir.
In Middle East
Okay,
today,
sir.
it's becoming a very fast field.
Yes, sir.
Everyone is
Yes, sir.
setting
Yeah.
up accountancy institutes because this is a
Yes, sir. Yes,
upcoming
sir.
market, the Middle East market.
Yes,
So
sir.
in that
Yes,
kind of a
yes.
situation, your system will
Okay, sir.
immediately say the student
Okay,
intake
sir.
last month it was 100, this month it has dropped to 90.
Okay, sir.
Then you will know, because SIMA has done a recent survey. SIMA has found that the students joining SIMA stream is reducing because exams are becoming
Okay,
tough.
sir.
People are not joining SIMA.
Yes, sir.
So now they have to do
Yes, sir.
something
Yes.
about it. Yeah, they have to do
Okay, sir.
something about it. Their
Yeah.
control systems
Yes, sir.
is
Yeah.
giving information proactively. Otherwise, SIMA will, in
Yes, sir.
another 10 years time, if the SIMA goes like this, there won't be a SIMA.
Okay.
Right?
Okay, sir.
So it should include procedures for immediate reporting to right levels of any significant
Okay.
control failings, weaknesses, corrective action. Right level. Little things, it
Okay.
will come to your immediate path. But a big
Yes,
thing,
sir.
a big change should get reported to the board of directors. Right? So there has
Okay,
to be
sir.
access to the board of directors straight away. They will know something happening big, kind of a thing. But you have to remember, even the best internal control system cannot prevent poor human judgment. You can have the best
Okay,
control
sir.
system, but if you have some poor people at the board level who looking at
Okay,
all
sir.
the information takes poor decisions, it's
Okay,
a
sir.
sorry state of affairs, but it can happen. I was working
Okay,
in a
sir.
company, the best controls were there, but the top level, the people did not bother about the controls. They were told that the cash
Okay, sir.
forecast is going to be negative, but still they want to buy new cars, new vehicles, etc., etc. And you can imagine the
Okay, sir.
company collapse.
Okay, sir.
Human errors, right? Even the best
Okay,
control
sir.
system will not prevent human errors, right? The system
Okay,
can
sir.
say, Kumar is a bad customer, don't give him any more credit. But if Jayakumar decides,
Okay, sir.
having seen the system bad reports, if Jayakumar decides to give Kumar more credit, then of course it's a very poor human judgment, human error,
Okay, sir.
right? And of course,
Yes, sir.
most other things happen because we deliberately uh, we violate the control situation. I was working in
Okay,
a
sir.
government organization where the
Okay,
system
sir.
said basically all checks should be account payee crossed only. No check can be given
Okay,
without
sir.
a crossing. So big
Okay.
company, big government organization. It was coming under the
Okay, sir.
president. The president was the finance minister, but she was out of the country. So one day the not the acting president, acting finance minister gave me a call and told me, I want a check, open check without the crossing. I knew he was up to
Okay.
some mischief. I said, very sorry, sir, we
Okay.
can't give it because our system is such, all the checks are account payee cost only, right? Then he
Okay,
got
sir.
very angry with me. He said, if you don't give me the check tomorrow morning, you will not have a place to work. I said, it's all right. It's all right, but I can't give you a check because my control system prevents me from doing that one. but I was worried.
Okay, sir.
I managed to speak to the president of the country abroad at that time, and she told me, Kumar, don't worry, don't give him, right?
Okay, sir.
You stand by the control system. So because we had a control system, I could tell
Okay, sir.
him that kind of a thing. So a sound, otherwise they can break the control system. They can break the control system.
Okay, sir.
Then of course, even having the best control system is not helpful. A sound internal control, we have to understand this one. It will provide reasonable
Okay, sir.
assurance that company will achieve its objective. But surely, it's
Yes, sir.
not absolute assurance. In other words, just because
Okay,
you
sir.
have best control environment, don't assume that everything will
Okay,
go
sir.
right. Even with the best control,
Okay,
best control environment, many things can go wrong for
Okay.
you. Right? It may be partly due to
Okay,
your
sir.
fault, partly due to external influence. We can do all our very
Okay,
best.
sir.
But what happens if the government comes and put up a tax tomorrow morning on our product?
Okay, sir.
In Sri Lanka last week or 2 weeks back, there was a big problem with the rice millers, and the president ordered,
sir.
that president said to import rice. And a lot of people
Okay,
went
sir.
and, they freely imported rice to get away
Okay,
from the
sir.
shortage in the market. And the next thing
Okay,
what the
sir.
finance minister did was, when he saw a lot of rice coming, he put a tax.
Okay, sir.
And and you can see how crazy was. Like the business people, suddenly they found, my gosh, we have imported thinking we are
Okay,
going
sir.
to make a profit. This fellow has now taken the taxes. What can they do?
Okay, sir.
They did everything right, but
Okay,
the
sir.
finance minister made everything wrong. And ultimately, the prime
Okay,
minister
sir.
asked me, what should we do? I said, remove the tax, sir, because that was not told to them. So
Okay,
you have
sir.
to look like that all the time.
Okay, sir.
So there are 5 elements of a good internal control system. So basically, the number
Okay, sir.
1 for a good internal control
Okay, sir.
system, or a what we call effective
Okay, sir.
control system, we must have a sound control environment.
Okay, sir.
So it is the actions,
Yes, sir.
attitude, and awareness.
Yeah.
So generally, it is
Okay, sir.
this is a good short question, but we get in your paper all the time. Generally, it is believed
Okay, sir.
that you have a good environment, good control environment, provided you
Okay, sir.
behave with integrity and ethics. In other words,
Okay,
you have
sir.
a code of ethics for your company. Now, CIMA has
Yes,
a
sir.
code of ethics. CIMA code of ethics
Yes,
is
sir.
confidential,
Okay,
the
sir.
integrity, objectivity, professional behavior,
Okay, sir.
professional competence,
Yes, sir.
and confidentiality.
Yes, sir.
So
Yes,
in
sir.
your company, if you have a good code of ethics, that means generally
Okay,
it
sir.
is believed that company is
Okay,
on
sir.
a good control environment.
Okay, sir.
Good work culture. The people are
Okay, sir.
protected, the people are given their freedom to do the work culture. Some companies, the work
Okay,
culture
sir.
is horrible, right? So when you have a
Okay,
good
sir.
work culture, that company, it
Okay,
is
sir.
presumed that it has a good control
Okay, sir.
environment. Good internal
Okay,
audit.
sir.
The moment you have
Yes.
internal audit, that really shows the commitment of the top management, because internal audit comes
Okay,
from
sir.
the top management.
Yes, sir.
Right? Internal audit comes from the top management. He reports to the chairman of the audit committee. So he's a very independent
Yes,
person.
sir.
So when you have that kind of an internal audit, we know that the
Okay, sir.
company's directors
Okay, sir.
are serious about the control. But you can have an internal
Okay, sir.
audit who is reporting to the accountant. That means that the internal audit is useless. That internal audit is
Okay,
useless
sir.
because he has no power. He can't
Okay,
go
sir.
above the accountant.
Okay,
He
sir.
can't complain about the accountant. He will be
Okay,
sacked
sir.
tomorrow morning. So that kind of internal audit, if you have, that internal audit is
Okay, sir.
useless. Segregation of duties.
Okay,
You
sir.
must always have people
Okay.
on a segregation basis. Not that everyone will do
Yes, sir.
the whole transaction. One will record, one will
Yes, sir.
take, and that kind of a scenario.
Mhm.
Proper
Okay, sir.
authorization limits. Every company must have certain authorization. Up to this amount, accountant can.
Mhm.
Beyond that, the finance
Okay, sir.
director. Beyond that, 2 directors.
Okay, sir.
Beyond that, the board of directors. Otherwise, everyone will buy a
Okay.
car, everyone will buy an airplane, because, if there is no proper authorization limit. And also another one
Okay, sir.
is employing good qualified people. When you have CIMA people
sir.
inside your organization, the general assumption is that the company will
Okay,
be
sir.
having good control environment. Because SIMA people are subject to their own code of ethics. So the assumption is they will not do anything wrong. They will not do anything unethical. They will not do anything which is of some of lack of integrity. So that's why we have a demand for semi-accountant. So these are the generally the features of a good control environment. So the number one of a good effective internal control is a good control environment. Second one, risk assessment. You must assess risk. You remember how the risks are assessed? There are two methods. There are two meters or two parameters. One is the probability of it happening. The frequency of it happening. Right? What is the other one?
Then impact, sir.
Impact of it. Of it. So high impact, high probability, that's a very high risk.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Low probability, low impact, it's a low risk. In between, you can have many spheres of risk. So you must assess your risk because you can't be addressing every risk. So little probability, little risk, we will accept it.
Yes, sir.
High probability, high risk, unless we can completely take some risk management, we will avoid it. So like that, we have to think, and therefore, in a good control environment, we must have a way to assess the risk. So we have something called a risk register, and there we will record this risk with the probability level and with the impact level. So in your strategic case study questions, we generally have that kind of a thing. And if it is marked probability is 5 out of 5 and risk impact is 5 out of 5, that means 25. That's what we call risk score. That's a very high risk.
Okay, sir.
Then also it must identify what we call uncontrollable risk. Uncontrollable risk. Not only just identifying the risk, but also not controllable, but uncontrollable one.
Okay, sir.
Right? So obviously the like what our finance minister did, like the inflation can come up, the weather can come up. So in that kind of a scenario, what are we going to look at? Right? Then the control activities. Once the risk is identified, what are the specific controls what you are going to put it up? So basically, you must have a good organizational structure. Everyone must know what their role is. If they don't know their role, it's a very risky thing because the people don't know what they are expected of do. Proper context of employment, right? The employment contract will dictate the behavior and what they are expected to do, what they are not expected to do. Good health and safety procedures, right? That is also very important because in your company, you are employing people, not only your people employing, but even your customers. So there was a PT question sometime back about a customer going into a kind of a super mall where they were selling garments. He went into the fit-on room. There was a kind of a some hook has fallen from the fit-on room, and this fellow slipped, and then he had a slip disc or something like that. And finally, the company had to pay a big penalty. Not only the penalty, the company reputation suffered a lot. A little thing. A little thing. So the people should have been more careful to see that the fit-on rooms are properly checked all the time so that there is no hook falling and some person slipping and, breaking their shoulders or whatever it may be.
Okay, sir.
Discipline and reward system. We must have good discipline all the time. Irrespective of the person's status or whatever, we must take discipline if a person is indisciplined. Just because he's a good worker, we cannot overlook him. I remember I was working in a company, there was a very good worker. But all the time my managing director said, he was such an indisciplined person. A lot of complaints are coming about his behavior, all that. But our managing director said, let's ignore because he's a good worker. And ignored till he went and made a massive big blunder. If he had taken the corrective action immediately, he would have got himself corrected and the company would not have suffered such a huge blunder. So, school must have good discipline and also good rewarding system. Whenever people comply with the rules and regulations, we must be rewarding them with proper reward.
Okay.
And for all this to happen, you must have what we call proper appraisal and feedback system.
Okay,
So this
sir.
is why we
Okay,
have
sir.
what we call key performance
sir.
indicators. Last time when we discussed
Okay.
the management control, we discussed some of the things like RI, ROC, all that. You must have
Yes, sir.
for the organization, you must have for the division, you must have, and also for the individuals, you must have certain performance appraisal, and also to
Yes, sir.
appraise the performance, you must have a good feedback system.
Okay, sir.
So the fourth one is what I said just now, information and
Okay, sir.
communication.
Come
You must have
Okay,
good
sir.
information. When the managers need the information, they must have the
Okay,
information.
sir.
You can't give information
Okay, sir.
6 hours late. You can't give information
Okay,
6
sir.
months late. So information
Okay,
must
sir.
be timely, accurate, understandable, and relevant. So
Okay,
generally,
sir.
because we are using computers, we have almost all the information on a real-time basis. So this is
Okay,
what
sir.
the IT strategy has done for a company. And also
Okay,
finally,
sir.
monitoring.
Okay, sir.
Monitoring. You can have the
Okay, sir.
best system, but the systems need to be
Okay, sir.
properly monitored because there are changes in the environment. Today's control
Okay,
system
sir.
may not be good tomorrow. Tomorrow's control system may not be good for day after tomorrow. So internal
Okay, sir.
control system is, I want you to note down that last word, it's a dynamic system.
Okay, sir.
It's not a static system.
Okay, sir.
It's a dynamic system. An internal audit is the
Okay.
key monitor of internal control. So I told you, internal
Sir,
audit is our friend. Internal is
sir,
our
come
friend.
again, sir.
Yeah,
So
sorry.
internal audit is
Internal audit is our friend because internal audit is always
okay.
the person who can give that kind of a monitoring system.
Okay, sir.
Right? As I said, the internal auditor only will see the overview of the entire company.
Okay, sir.
Understand? So he will be able to tell us
Okay,
where
sir.
the things are going right, where the things are going wrong, and he will be able to work it.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
Specific controls, here I have put up a little
Uh-huh.
thing called spam soap, right? You must have heard this
Uh-huh.
one. The specific
Okay,
controls
sir.
we must have is segregation of duty. All transactions, no
Okay,
one
sir.
should do it all the whole transaction from beginning to the end. It must be
Okay,
separated.
sir.
Physical control,
Okay, sir.
like for computers, for example,
Okay,
you
sir.
have physical controls, they will say no smoking. No one should with a cigarette
Okay,
go
sir.
into the computer room. Physical control.
Okay, sir.
Then the third
Okay,
one,
sir.
authorization and approval. All the time, proper
Uh-huh.
authorization, proper approvals must be there. Management controls.
Okay,
You
sir.
remember we talked about the management controls. Management controls are top
Okay, sir.
level reviews. The board of directors will review the
Okay, sir.
company, will review the activities
Okay, sir.
to see how it is happening,
Okay,
credit
sir.
control activity. Questions should be asked.
Okay, sir.
And supervision. Every work must get
Okay, sir.
supervised at a higher level.
Okay.
Organization. We must have proper organization, proper delegation,
Okay, sir.
proper organization structure. Arithmetic and accounting is a
Okay, sir.
very, very important one, right? Even though all the computers have all that has come up, but we must have ways
Okay,
to
sir.
check because if you enter in the computer 100,000 transaction, 1 million, your records will be wrong.
Mhm. Okay, sir.
Finally, personnel
Mhm.
control. Right recruitment, right
Okay, sir.
training, proper induction. So this is what we can call the
Okay, sir.
8 controls,
Okay, sir.
the what we call spam
Okay, sir.
soap. The first one is segregation, second one is physical controls,
Okay,
third
sir.
one authorization, fourth one
Okay, sir.
management,
Okay, sir.
supervision,
Okay,
organization,
sir.
arithmetic, accounting, and personnel. So this is what we
Okay,
call
sir.
spam
Okay,
soap.
sir.
It's easy to remember. These 8 controls
Okay, sir.
must be there in any internal control system in any good company.
Okay, sir.
Controls can be classified under 3 categories. Financial
Okay.
controls.
Okay.
Basically, they are
Okay,
all
sir.
monetary in dollars,
Okay, sir.
in all that kind of control.
Oh,
Non-financial
okay, sir.
quantitative controls. It is coming from the balance
Okay, sir.
scorecard, like the
Okay, sir.
customer complaints, the number of rejects, etc. Non-financial
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
qualitative control. Qualitative means it's
Okay,
basically
sir.
about the employees. the quality of the work what
Okay,
we
sir.
do, health and training,
Okay, sir.
the physical training, the
Okay, sir.
physical control, project control,
Okay, sir.
right?
Okay, sir.
Any internal control system should be properly evaluated. So first of all, you must see
Okay, sir.
the internal control system,
Okay, sir.
look at the current system and
Okay,
see whether it is providing the
Okay, sir.
required control. If not, decide on a new control system. And whenever we introduce
Okay,
a
sir.
control system, we must look at cost versus benefit all the time.
Mhm.
So with that, we have come to another big ending
sir.
of what we call the control system,
Okay, sir.
internal control. So we
Okay,
have done the management controls, we
Sir.
have done the internal controls, both these areas are now covered.
Yes, sir. Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So
Internal audit. Next one is internal audit, sir.
next one, I want to do the information system strategy.
Okay, okay, sir. Okay,
Yeah,
sir.
okay,
Okay,
that's
sir.
another big area. I
Sir,
want to look at that one, information system strategy.
Okay.
So,
Sir, one small doubt, sir.
yeah, sure.
Sir, regarding that internal audit and internal control, something you told, sir, I'm unable to
Yeah,
remember, sir.
basically what I said was,
Besides because, sir.
basically what I said was the internal control. I told you earlier, the stock
Okay, sir.
management must ensure that the internal control systems
sir.
are working properly. So the man who can help
Yes, sir.
them is the internal auditor. He monitors the
Okay, sir.
control
Okay, sir.
system. He will go from one section
Okay,
to
sir.
the other section because the monitoring is very important.
Okay, sir.
The monitoring can be done
Okay,
because
sir.
your finance director can't go,
Okay,
your
sir.
sales director can't go,
Okay,
your
sir.
CEO can't go. The
Okay, sir.
one man who is 24
Yes,
by
sir.
7 available is the internal auditor. He will go
Okay,
from
sir.
one section to
Okay,
the
sir.
other section. He has no particular interest
sir.
in any section. He's an independent man. That
Okay,
is
sir.
why he is given that
Okay,
independency.
sir.
He will go and look at the
Okay, sir.
controls and come back
Okay,
and
sir.
report to the
And
management.
then
Saying,
management controls, sir.
yeah,
Okay,
yes, management control.
That spam out that. Yes, sir.
Yeah, what do you want to know
The
about the
prime number,
management?
sir. That spam out you.
Yeah.
That management control, you told something, sir. The question is, they will ask questions
Yeah,
like that. You told
management
something, sir.
control means the management must review every activity. They must, that is why,
Okay, sir.
they have to call progress meetings and all that kind of a thing. Management will call the
Okay, sir.
finance division and ask, hey, what you all have been doing? What are your problems?
Okay, activity
Management will
control, sir.
call the sales
Okay, sir.
department and ask, hey, what are you all doing? And they will
Okay, sir.
question them.
Okay, sir.
That is what the management
Okay,
is
sir.
supposed, that is what we call a management control system.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
So that's
Okay, sir.
basically we should be looking at. So when
Okay,
can
sir.
we, today is Friday, when can
Yes,
we make it next? Tuesday 7th,
Depends on.
huh? Tuesday
It's up
7th?
to your schedule, sir.
Yeah, sure. Tuesday 7th, shall we say Tuesday 7th, 8 o'clock is too late for you?
8 o'clock. Oman time, sir.
Oman time, yeah?
8 o'clock, sir. Okay, sir.
Shall we make it Tuesday 7th, 8 o'clock?
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Tuesday, 8 o'clock, sir. Okay, sir.
Yeah, 7th of March, Tuesday, 8 o'clock.
Okay.
8 o'clock
8
Oman
o'clock.
time.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Right. So we will be doing information
Thank
system strategy. I will send you this slide for you now.
Okay, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Take
thank you,
care.
sir.
Right, bye.
Bye, sir. Bye, sir. Take care, sir.
Bye.
Bye.